Good evening, all you Trek nerds. Are you ready for this recap of Caves?
Caves. Short recap. We're gonna do a really short recap.
Okay, what you got?
We're gonna do that before we do the footage.
I guess we
Or
can.
we
I
do,
guess we can. All right,
do the
hold up.
footage first.
Let's find it.
Roll the intro so they know who we are, where we come from.
All right,
All,
Jason.
all right, and we back. All right. So what we got this week? What are we on our eighth episode of Lower Decks for this
Yes, sir.
season four, labeled Caves. I'm just gonna shortly say this episode is about our junior grade lieutenants being trapped in a cave. Well, they talk about stories about being trapped in a cave, like individually. So Boimler uh, talks about his story of being trapped in a cave with a conspiracy theorist who actually turns out to be right. Rutherford talks about his story, and he had a baby that nobody knew of. We could talk about that more later. And then Mariner ends up in a chromaton field where she and the people end up getting older, trying to get to this fuel source, pyronite or something like that. And which leaves Tindy out because her story, only story she's got is the one that's about a turbo lift, but she keeps bringing it up for some reason. But we do hear about the turbo lift story as well. Um, and that's all I have to say about the episode. That's why that would be my recap of the episode. It's a story in a cave about stories about caves.
But can we talk about the beginning? At the very beginning, they get a message from the Cerritos basically saying, "Get out of there, get out of there." But my question was at the very beginning was, why couldn't they just transport them up?
I would imagine you need a better signal for transport than you do for communications. I mean, you have to
Okay,
remember to transport something, you have to be able to lock in on every molecule of their body, you know, absolutely. Rather than communications could be just,
right.
it's a very small signal for communications.
Right, I get it, but okay, so uh, maybe I just misheard. But I thought when they were basically saying get out of there, they meant transport up,
Right. I think they were saying
run.
get back to the entrance or something like that. So
Okay,
if you
all right.
notice, first of all, this is a decent episode only because there have been several Star Trek episodes that have been in caves, right? And that was their whole thing with this episode. It's like Star Trek has done the cave thing over and over and over again. So you can talk about certain things that happened in caves, and there have been times where they could talk to them, but they couldn't beam them in or out
Right,
just because of how deep they were or whatever. So you can still have, I think you can still have communications without being able to have transporters.
got it. So have we ever seen the Vendorians before?
No, I have not. That was the
Okay,
first time I had. I feel like I've heard the name, but it just might sound close to everything else because everything's a Andorian. Like everything is
Mhm.
Andorian.
Okay, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. So let's which story came first?
Um, Boimler's story came first. He talked about he that was when he was in there with the guy who was a conspiracy theorist about
Mhm.
everything that happened. Um, which was getting on Boimler's nerve. He kind of remind me like he didn't remind me of, but yes, I guess he did remind me. He made me think that what would be a great addition to the show would be like um, Lieutenant Broccoli's son that was just like him.
Neurotic.
Yeah, like a neurotic character would be like a nice addition, I think,
Okay.
to Lower Decks.
I am seeing some character development from Boimler. I mean, he doesn't have a problem standing up to a senior officer.
Right. Well, that wasn't a. Oh yeah, he was above him.
Mhm.
Yes, he was above him because he
Mhm.
had two. He had two pips. Now I think about
Mhm.
it.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, yeah, he's grown definitely since the first season. He's
Mhm.
not. He doesn't shy away. I think Mariner has taught him a lot about standing up for to
A
himself.
whole lot. A
Yeah,
whole lot.
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
And and so what did you think about that? About Boimler just standing up for himself in that moment?
I mean I think that that follows through with the way his character has been going for the past season or the past two seasons. That he's been, uh, you know, feeling more the strength within himself and saying what he feels. Actually, and dude was pissing him off.
Do you think that was more the fact that he got a promotion or just the evolution of this particular character?
I don't think it's the fact that he just got a promotion. I think that's just the that particular character. Because if it was just about the rank, then the other person was a rank above him, so he wouldn't have
He
said
wouldn't have
that.
done it. Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
it's about I think it's about him. What do you think?
No, I definitely agree with you. I think it tracks with the evolution of this particular character, and it's very nice to see um, in Lower Decks how these characters have a true evolution, which kind of harkens back to Deep Space Nine. In TNG, you got a little bit of character development, but not a whole lot. Whereas here, it's very clear that they're trying to show
Yeah.
you how these characters are evolving.
Yeah, TNG you didn't get a lot of growth. Uh I mean you got some backstory on people a little
Hmm.
bit,
Hmm.
but you didn't get growth in their character. Like nobody was trying to achieve anything or be better at their job. Um maybe Riker because he got his beard. When he got his beard, he was kind of a different person, right?
Some self confidence.
Yeah, I think it was once he got his beard. LaForge, once he made that move to engineering, he got to get a little more confidence.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, and there was no like learning curve for LaForge. You know what I'm saying? Like he
Right.
was just the engineer, and he was just competent, just
It
because he's the engineer.
just showed up competent. Well, yeah. I mean, I think all the engineers sort of
Are
like that.
competent.
O'Brien was like that. He just happened to be a good engineer. I mean, he was a transporter operator for God's sakes, and ended up being chief engineer, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but everybody, I think, is like that. Trip was like that. They're just good. You don't get to be on the ship unless you're already good. There's no, you know what I mean?
especially on the flagship. Like
Yeah,
that was a huge promotion for him.
yeah. You don't, and you have to be good to be there. I guess you got to be at a star base or something, or lower ranking something to graduate up like he was, I guess.
Yeah,
But it would have been nice for them to show um, him move from being was he a helmsman
he
or was he a
was.
tactical?
He was a
Not
helmsman.
tactical. What's the other? It's helmet ops of the
Ops.
two, right?
Yeah, no, he was helmsman.
It would have been nice for them to recognize something with him in him, and then show a promotion,
Hmm.
which they
I
didn't do.
I do think that there was like one episode, but my memory is not as great as yours when it comes to Star Trek. There was one episode where um, Picard was looking at his scores from the Academy, and he was just like, "You could have done so much, other than just being a helmsman. Why did you, become a helmsman?" And he gave some story or whatever, and boom, the
That was
next season.
Yeah, that was season one when I think what you're talking about.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I guess that was it. I guess that was it. Right.
Hmm. Hmm.
So Gene Roddenberry decided to promote him because he was still in charge at that point.
We're gonna make this one character do two things. He's gonna be the helmsman and be the first engineer.
Exactly. He could have,
Okay.
it could have been that one black dude that Nagilum killed. It squashed his brain. And oh, oh. Like damn, that was going to be our next helmsman. Now we got to promote LaForge. I mean, that was going to be our next engineer. Now we got to promote LaForge.
And then, so okay, so Boimler was first, and who was second? Who told that story second?
Second was Mariner told her
Yeah,
second,
I thought so.
and then wait. It's four stories, right? No,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Rutherford told his second,
Okay. All right.
and he's the one that he had a baby.
Yeah, he went down with the doctor. What's the doctor's name? The
Oh
cat
my god!
woman.
Oh my god! I can't believe I forget her name.
I want to say Ta'ana.
Something like that. That's crazy. I forgot. We forgot her name. Shame on us. Uh,
So
uh,
the two of them beamed down, and what happened?
um, how am I getting a call right now? Sorry about that. Um,
So they
I
beamed
think it was
down with
Tyler.
this
Yeah,
other species of characters who, they're going into this cave, and they're trying to get, I don't know, I'm gonna call it some weeds or whatever from this, I don't know, pond.
yeah. They're trying to get this plant, and then a monster jumps up and uh, throws one of them against the. I forget the name of the species that she is. I think the doctor is Taana, by the way, but I forget the name of the species. The woman, she reminds me of the girl from um, Endgame.
Enterprise. Oh, okay.
No, Endgame. Um, I don't even know. It was the girl from Endgame. She's blue. She's Thanos' daughter, one of Thanos' daughters.
Oh, the psychic.
No, she's not a psychic. She was the psychic is the one with the
Yeah.
tentacles on her.
Oh, you saying what she looks like?
Yes, she's blue, and Thanos changed her parts out. She's like half machine and half.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
she reminds me of her.
Okay.
Um, but she's about to die, and so she impregnates Rutherford with her self.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, her consciousness uh, forms a protein inside of Rutherford, which grows inside his stomach, and then Dr. Taana has to give him a C-section to get the baby out. And then they argue over who's going. She doesn't want to take care of the baby. Um, Apparently, she hates babies and engineers.
By the way, lucky for them that there was a doctor there.
Right? Exactly. Right? Because we don't know how that would have played out, bro. I think we want to know. We would like to know, like, how is that going to happen?
Baby just scratch his way
I,
out.
I don't know, because uh, boys and girls are built differently. They just
I do
are.
like the way that they just kind of sidetracked that, and it was yeah, it was lucky for them.
Lucky for them. And that's probably the only reason why they were like, oh shit, we don't know what to do here. Let's stick the doctor down there. It's probably
Yeah,
somebody else.
got to,
It could have been
got
Shax
to.
or somebody at first. Um, but then so the monster comes back and tries to kill them, but Rutherford uh learns the monster's language through the universal translator in his tricorder
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
talks to the monster, and then the monster's like, oh, I'm just trying to protect my baby. And they're like, we trying to protect our baby.
I wonder. I wondered in that moment what made Rutherford think that the quote unquote monster was sentient.
I figure he think that everything can be communicated with. I mean, I guess what is sentience is a sliding scale. Like What's the definition of sentience? Do you have to be able to ask, "Am I sentient to be sentient?" Or do you have to be able to say, "I
I
am
think,
sentient to be
therefore
sentient"?
I am.
I think therefore I am right.
Mhm.
But like, you know, is a dog sentient? Is a ape sentient? Is a gorilla sentient?
I mean,
If you,
I would say they are. I think we're just not able to communicate with them.
right. I mean, apes and monkeys learn sign language, right?
Hmm.
And dogs will find a way to communicate with you sometimes what they want. I want to go outside. I want
Yeah, yeah,
food.
yeah.
I want to be petted. They don't ask, why am I here in this world? Maybe they don't ask that, but
They may wonder it.
they may wonder. I
Hmm.
think sometimes if I leave my dog in the house too long, I think he looks at me and says, "Where the fuck you been at all day?" It's like, sorry, bro, work went long.
So then, once Rutherford communicates with the quote unquote the monster, um, the monster basically says, "Hey, I've been watching you all, and you handle that baby well."
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that both the first story and the second story had to do with somebody was observing them and watching them,
Hmm.
watching what they were doing. Um, I don't think Mariners had anybody watching them. No, right?
Not that I can recall in this moment.
Right. um, but Mariners' story was just basically they had to get some fuel for their ship, and it was happened to be like right over there, like 30 feet from them, 20 feet from them. But I guess it was like a chromatin field or something that was making them age.
Hmm. Hmm. By the way, with Delta Shift, so she she led an away mission with Delta Shift.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a funny scene with the guy who broke his leg,
Yeah.
and and they were like, "Yeah, just come over here. You're younger than us. Just come over here. You can get to it."
Right. First of all, he wasn't that much younger than them. Can't be that much. They said he's a child prodigy, so maybe he was a teenager. He's like Wesley
Wesley
Crusher, right?
Crusher.
Yeah, basically. Speaking of that, speaking of Wesley Crusher, I often wonder why they don't have. So they needed to get this fuel, which they could see. They couldn't walk over and get it. They don't have portable tractor beams
Hmm.
in their tricorders. Isn't that weird that nobody's developed that?
Hmm.
But Wesley Crusher developed that in the first season of TNG.
Really, I don't remember that.
Oh, it was the one. It was the follow up to the TOS episode where they had the virus on the ship that made everybody want to have sex. It was when Data had sex with Tasha Yar,
Okay.
and then you had an engineer that had pulled all the isolinear chips out of the board, and the Enterprise was going to be caught in like a supernova or something like that. And Wesley Crusher had invented a tractor beam, and he turned it into a force field so that nobody could get in
Okay. Yeah, I
and
remember
save the
that.
ship. Yeah. So it's just like I wonder why
This
nobody has ever
duplicated it. Okay.
duplicated a
Yeah.
tractor beam. And then, I mean, this was what 40 years ago, 30 years ago,
Yeah. 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 Hmm. That's
even in,
interesting.
even in Star Trek times, like 3 decades.
Yeah. Okay.
So the next tricorders should have small tractor beams in them. You know what? It would save a lot of lives
It
having
would. It would. I don't know about the drama of the story though.
well, you keep them from stepping in the quicksand and shit or whatever they're gonna do. And they can duplicate. They can double as force fields.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Have them walking in air.
Yeah. So if you go to Starfleet Academy, get on it.
Yeah, they wouldn't accept me. I don't know how fast the sun moves on the speed of light, like you.
You know how fast the sun moves.
I do not.
About an hour every hour. Does that make sense?
That's time.
Yeah, I know. I don't know, about 1,000 miles every hour, I would say.
Hmm. I don't know. All right. And so that was their story. And then next we have Tendies, right?
Yeah. What was Tindy's? Tindy, they got stuck in a turbo lift,
Yeah.
and then
So they basically first this like kind of like when they first got on the Cerritos. So I guess they're getting to know each other, and they get drunk.
hmm I do like how they actually pulled a clip from, like, I
Hmm.
don't know if it was the first episode or not first episode. It was an early episode when she was like, "I'm gonna make you my chadich."
Hmm.
That was actually from an episode.
Correct.
May have been the first one. I don't know. First
Correct.
one with Tindy on it, right?
Hmm. Yeah,
So I like how they did that.
I do. I also like the fact that they were able to, um, not okay. So clearly, the first three, I want to call them flashbacks, were from things that we haven't seen in the show. Um, but they
Mhm.
were able to include it in this show, so we were learning a little bit about the relationships that each of those four main characters were having outside of the four characters, and it just reminded me of how friendships are, especially friendships that last a long time. You move out, you do your separate things, you create new friends, but you still have that core friendship.
Right, and they were really like upset about not knowing things that happened to the other person.
Hmm.
They was
Hmm.
like, "Wait, why didn't you tell us? Well, you well, you had a whole baby and didn't tell us."
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of a big thing.
Yeah, that would be a big thing, especially a guy having a baby. Yeah, that's a big
Yeah,
thing.
I had a baby today, bro. All right, good night.
Or that one scene when when Rutherford was like, he told Boimler, "Give me your pants," and Boimler was like,
Right,
"Sure thing."
right. Here you go. And she was like, well, "That was pretty quick. Like, you gave those up quick."
Yeah,
So I don't know what the pants are made out of. That it's like the writers just pulled something out their ass and said,
I
"Okay."
do remember a long time ago watching TNG where they basically said that whatever it was that the uniforms were made out of, it would protect them from the elements and whatnot.
Mhm.
um, but in episodes after that, it was kind of like I don't know, they walked that back or whatever. Do you
Well,
remember that?
I always noticed that they are like, if you compare them to people that are in the military, people in Starfleet walk very lightly. Like they have no, like, people in the military carry, they expect that they're gonna have to sleep out here tonight and they're not gonna see food or water
Yeah,
for however long, and
yeah.
they're prepared for that. People in Starfleet, they just assume that they're gonna, they're gonna be just fine. All I need is a tricorder and a phaser.
Replicate food.
Out
and
tricorders can't replicate food.
and by the way, just since we were talking about the doctor and Rutherford, they just happen to have some rations.
Right? From where? Because they don't carry them.
I mean,
Just have,
Anna could have it. You know, never know.
What's up, Keith?
Hey, Jason. Hey, Jermaine. Sorry,
how's it
Mike.
going, sir?
All right, how are you?
Doing well. I see you got that nice tie on.
Yeah,
Right. Stepping it up for the Vendorians.
not a Vendorian. I don't know why you would accuse me of being a Vendorian. I'm not now. Nor have I ever been a Vendorian. And that, sir, is slanderous. You take that back.
But first of all, that sounds like something a Vendorian would say.
I am not a Vendorian. If you accuse me again, I will seek legal justice, sir.
Okay.
I'm just saying is all. You missed the whole thing, Keith. We talked about the episode. We about to go. All right, see you,
Okay,
everybody.
all right. Have a good night then.
Keith, what was your take on the episode?
I'm not. I mean, it was a clip show. Never a big fan of a clip show, even
Come
though it
right
was
back.
all stuff we never saw before. Kind of felt like we okay. Uh, Kind of felt like they were trying to make up for lost time on this by having each one have a story.
Hmm.
Uh, I mean, the most refreshing thing about it was that all four of them were sent down on a mission by themselves. And yes, we saw that in Those Old Scientists and Strange New Worlds, but yeah, the idea of that they are senior enough officers that they don't need another senior officer looking over their shoulder is a nice change from previous seasons.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen that in Star Trek before.
Well, we've done that before. It's just we're so used to the hero crew, the bridge crew, going down. I mean, original series, it was always Kirk, Spock, and McCoy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then when they did in the Ultimate Computer, when they had the computer decide, he basically flipped a coin between two officers, but did not include Kirk or McCoy because, as the computer said, that they're not necessary to the success of this mission. And in the case of this mission, they didn't need any senior officers on it.
And then in TNG, they switched that and they kept saying the captain's
First
place
officer.
Yeah, but
captain's place is on the bridge.
yeah,
So Picard didn't go down to as many away missions as Kirk did at all.
right. Not even close. Even with having over twice as many episodes.
Right.
Was that a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it made more sense. I think
for continuity command, it's a good thing. Never put all your senior officers in one shuttlecraft.
right.
Voyager failed at that a lot. In fact, there were several times where it was Janeway and Chakotay together on a shuttle mission. Why would you ever do that?
True. But I always looked at TNG as being more like a little bit more like reality, like how Picard seems like how an actual captain would actually be,
Mm-hmm.
other than Kirk. Kirk is more like something you would put on television to entertain people, and then Picard is more like, okay, this is how we would actually kind of do this thing, this captain thing in real life.
Do you think some of that had to do with the fact that television had changed and we were, meaning the public, would have said, nah, this is not reality. Give us more of what reality is?
Well, when the original series came out, your crew, your frontline stars were Shatner, Nimoy, and Kelly. Name me an episode of the original series where someone other than one of those three is the main character.
Yeah, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm
I
saying
know,
is,
but because of them being the main characters, you're going to see them. They have to go on every away mission. So to heck with any military rules. They are going to be the ones that Kirk's going to be the one that makes the decision. They're going to do whatever they need to get the story done. It doesn't. They don't have any of the other bridge crew don't really weigh in on anything. Well, when Next Generation, it's more of a ensemble.
I think that when the Next Generation came around, they actually sat down and ironed out more things about Star Trek itself.
Oh yeah, there was actually a
science.
Bible.
Yeah, the science, the structure, the characters, and they actually did more things. Whereas TOS is kind of it was just getting the idea off the ground of a Western in space and just getting it out there. And they didn't really have as much time to. I mean, they like if you look at the science of TOS is beyond what the science is in TNG and following. Like the speeds the spaceships went, you know, how far they went, the places that they got to in the galaxy in a small amount of time, just you couldn't have done.
And they use the phrases sector and quadrant interchangeably when they aren't interchangeable at all.
Right.
Yeah. But I guess Keith, I'm not disagreeing with you at all. Actually, what you're saying is complimenting what I'm saying. All that I'm saying is by the time that TNG came out, they basically said, "Hey, look, let's do things differently. Let's kind of make it seem a bit more realistic."
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that definitely I agree. It's the way they it was more realistic, definitely. And the way television was made in the '60s, your star was your star.
And I think it was just like I said, they really took time to iron things out of actually what they're going to do and why they. I mean, like in the Next Generation, they had Heisenberg compensators,
Hmm.
right? Which
Simply
is
because somebody asked the question of how do you make transporters work? Because Heisenberg said that, and
yeah,
so they came up with the Heisenberg compensator.
yeah. You can't know what particle is where it is and what it's doing at the same time. So
Yeah.
they just brilliantly said, okay, we got just a machine that just does that.
Hmm.
So I mean, it's just it's the little things they paid attention to, it's including the structure of command and what the commander would do.
And so, why do you think they decided that with Voyager they wanted Janeway to be out of the ship more?
Because it was the first female captain, they wanted you to see her more, and they wanted
And they didn't
more
want to make
action
it
from
seem
her.
like they were keeping her on the ship and keeping her out of danger, or treating
Right,
her especially.
right.
And so, did that hurt the character of Chakotay?
Yes. What character of Chakotay?
Probably, I think he probably had to sit back a little bit just because of that. Um, she often went down because of diplomatic reasons, I guess, to talk to new aliens or whatnot. But
You know,
I
that's,
guess everybody, every even in the Alpha Quadrant, you got new aliens that you're talking to. So
yep. But yeah, there was definitely, I doing a partial rewatch. There are way too many episodes that start with Janeway and Chakotay went on this mission, went to retrieve this item, went to do this, and there was the one episode where they both got bitten by the same insect that made them so sick that they couldn't leave the planet, and so
Mhm.
the ship had to leave them behind.
but then Tuvok got help from the Vidians.
Right. Well, reluctantly, Torres using the EMH contacted uh, the Vidians behind Tuvok's back.
Oh, that girl,
Yes.
that Smollis's
Smoke.
girl.
Yes. Uh,
I don't
um,
remember what her name
Pell?
is.
No, Pell? Denara Pell? I think so.
Smollis. Anyway,
So,
uh,
back to the episode. What was your favorite part, Keith?
I liked when I liked at the beginning when they all got back together and they're like, "Well, we haven't done anything together in a while," and yes, and of course, calling out the things of that we haven't had a Mariner and Boimler team up this season at all, and this is the eighth episode, and I
I,
love it. I like when they call out the little things like that.
I thought it was interesting how happy Boimler was to go on a away mission with her.
Hmm.
Like he was excited to do that, and he usually isn't that excited to go on a away mission with Mariner.
Well, she's his friend, and he misses her. So,
Hmm.
I mean, just like we haven't had Marie on here for a couple weeks, and we miss her completely.
Yeah. What the
So,
fuck, Marie? You better be in the comments somewhere. Let me look.
no, she's not feeling well, so don't get mad at Marie.
Okay.
We want her to feel better. We want her to be
I
better.
thought she was sick last week. She's still sick.
Last week
Good.
it was just her being busy, but this week it's something bad, and so we
I'm
hope that she has a speedy recovery because we miss her, and we would like her
absolutely.
back as soon as possible.
I
Okay.
need. I just got another COVID shot today, so I'm feeling a little,
Yeah,
achy or whatever.
I need to get my booster. Yeah.
Uh, so I'll agree with Keith that like this episode seemed like a filler almost,
Mhm.
and you hate that in like the second, what is it, the eighth, 8 out of 10
Yeah.
episode. Um, it didn't really move anything along, even though I was the main one last week that said, everything doesn't have to move the story along. But I literally said that,
Yep.
but this didn't feel like it moved anything along.
It
Um,
didn't, but I do have to say I really enjoyed this particular episode. I
Okay.
really did. It brought the, for lack of a better term, it brought the 18 back together.
Hmm.
Obviously, Talin was not present, so I don't know
Still,
what that means
But
for her particular character.
this was a
But
decent enough explanation as to why she wasn't there.
yes, it was. But all I'm basically saying is that it was a great episode, and it reinforced the fact that no matter what, this team is going to remain a team.
Yes.
yes, I get that. They didn't touch on the mystery ship at all on this episode, which
Nope.
they've done like almost every single episode of the season. Um, we found out one
I
piece of
think this was the
information
only
today.
episode they didn't.
Yeah, I
No,
thought that was
there was
weird.
another episode they didn't.
Oh, really?
Okay,
Okay.
well, most of them I would say
Yeah.
they have, and we found out a small bit of information about it um, last week, but then this week nothing. So I thought that was kind of weird.
They're just setting us up. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all. They're setting us up.
I like that they brought back an alien species from the animated series. They're continuing their love of all things animated series.
Is that what the
Vendorian.
Vendorians are from the animated series? Okay,
Yes, sir.
I should know that because I just watched the whole thing.
The Survivor, episode 6 of season 1. Uh, they find a vessel with lost sort of philanthropist Carter Winston, whose fiance, by coincidence, just happens to be serving on the Enterprise. But it turns out he's actually a Vendorian in Surprise.
Right.
And yes, I was reading off of Memory Alpha, as I was saying. Didn't have it memorized.
Okay. All right. It's nice to know that that was a callback, because I was definitely thinking this was a new alien species.
No, in fact, we did have them in Lower Decks before, in the episode Envoys from season 1, where they're chasing the Klingon through Torgana 4. When they go to the Andorian section, they Boimler stands up for this old Andorian man that's being attacked, but it turns out he was a Vandorian.
See,
Got
there you
away
go.
with
Pete. I mean, there you go, Jermaine.
Seems like this particular species would make for a good ally,
hmm
because they
Yeah.
just seem to care about the well-being of the people that they come in contact with.
At least in this episode, they did. Yeah.
Whew.
What did you guys think of the idea of the conspiracy theorists being actually correct about something for once?
Right. That's why we were talking about that earlier. It's like, yeah, he was correct about it.
Well, the thing about conspiracy theorists, there's always a little bit of truth, but most of what they say is just flat out just wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I could say that there was one conspiracy I believed for years, and it's believed by left-leaning people in this country that know their history. And I was told again and again by people right-leaning or more moderate, or even some left-leaning, that I was crazy, that no conspiracy theory is real. But
That's
about
not true.
3 months ago, a news story came out that yes, it actually did happen.
Which one is that?
This was the one about members of the Republican campaign for president in 1980 speaking with foreign governments behind the scenes
Oh
to
yeah,
sabotage the campaign of the Democratic president running for
yeah.
re-election.
Oh, well,
And
yeah. I believe they did all types of shit back then.
one of the people that was part of it came out and said, "Yeah, we did it. I was at a meeting with the leadership of Iran in which we asked them to hold on to the hostages
Yeah,
as it would hurt President Carter's re-election."
yeah.
Well, first of all, I don't believe that no conspiracy theories are true. That's just
Yeah.
stupid.
And we've had a lot more conspiracy theories come about since 9/11, and they seem to just get weirder and weirder since then.
William, how you doing?
Wofford.
I think we were about to wrap up the show, but what were your thoughts about this particular episode?
We pretty much got 4 short treks put in one, and I rather liked it. You know, I kind of like how there was like it was like a haha and then another haha and then another haha in the end. Like you thought that was the ending, but it's really not. It's like as far as like what was the resolution for this entire thing, because clearly they have not spent that much time together apparently for a long time, and that's not surprising, being in the Federation, because we've seen that on TNG, we've seen that on Deep Space Nine. Hey, I haven't seen you in a few weeks. How's it going? It's a consistent amount, other than like not like episodic. When it comes to episodic, you can pretty much assume that it's been several days to a few weeks between each episode. But when it's climactic, it's one right after the other. So kind of like how they transitioned from Deep Space Nine. The first 6 seasons was episodic, and then the last season, or season 6 and season 7, were all climactic. But I really enjoyed it. It was definitely a feel good episode. It was nice. I liked how there's only one thing. It's not a pet peeve or critique, but more like a hidden wish. I kind of wish they would have like made a joke. I wish Mariner would have made a joke towards the green goo, calling it like a Armis or Artemis. What's that black goo from TNG? Yeah. Armis, yeah. I was kind of hoping they would be like that.
He's a black dude. Armis is a black dude.
But yeah, it is. Yeah. So but it's just like, because the goons just started talking, and I'm going like, what is this, a fucking Armis or some? I expected something like that, like, but it just turned out to be those tentacle things. So
Vandorians,
yes. Vandorians, and because at first I thought dude kept saying Andorians. I'm like, I'm pretty sure they're not shapeshifter. And then I went back, turned on the subtitles, and I was like, oh. Yeah, I liked it. It's definitely one of those where it's definitely a feel good episode that really you can place anywhere if you like. But I feel like they definitely needed to like come back together to re-solidify their friendship, to wrap up to wrap up episode 9 and 10, when we find out what this hamster ship thing is Hull apparently stealing these ships, not destroying them, or I guess like cloning their parts and then moving them away, making them think they're destroyed. I don't know. Like we'll see.
Well, we were hoping to get some answers about that this week, but they gave us none.
Yeah.
So many answers last week and so little this.
I mean, it's pretty much they don't mean any harm towards each other when they move on with their lives, but in a way, life goes on. You're going to find new social groups. It's going to happen. It does not mean that you're running away from your last one. It does not mean you don't want to talk to the last one. It's just a fact of life.
Yeah.
William, you and I must have, I don't know, our brains must have been in sync, because that's pretty much everything that I've said today.
Oh. Hi.
Did you guys talk about Kid Cudi at all?
Who?
Kid Cudi, what did he do? I'm not up on the.
Have you not heard about his Star Trek partnership that was teased back on Star Trek Day, and they announced it this week at New York Comic Con? With he is releasing a new song called Heaven's Galaxy, and as part of the promotions of it, he has partnered with Paramount to release his own line of Star Trek merchandise.
Oh, wow!
Now
this is different.
It's clothing designed, and it's stuff that they're saying he designed it, but it's inspired by all Star Trek across all the years. They released an ad of him on the Enterprise bridge from Strange New Worlds in that uniform, standing up from the captain's chair.
So this is Kid Cudi or King Cudi?
Kid Cudi,
the rapper.
Yes.
So I guess, is he a Star Trek fan?
Yes.
Oh no! Don't play it! Don't play it! Don't play it!
I'm not. I was looking. I guess I was playing it.
Yeah, new song, streetwear, and a Fortnite tie-in.
Okay. All right.
What's a Fortnite tie-in?
The video game Fortnite. There's a
Fortnite.
You were unaware of Fortnite?
No, I thought you were talking about where they say
Fortnite as in a 2-week period.
In a fortnight, yes. That's what I was thinking. I don't play the game.
You don't play games, Jason.
You don't play no games.
I don't play no game. That's not true. I was playing Zelda today.
And you're playing Spider-Man, right?
Can't wait. I think it comes out tomorrow. Actually,
comes out tonight.
Comes out tonight.
Midnight. Yeah.
Yeah, William would know.
Actually, I didn't know until like 2 hours ago, when Evan, who's been on the show before, it's actually the timer's on my TV right now. He said, William,
The
will be at your house when it drops?
the dude who wears the red that Jason can't stand.
That yes, one and the same. Which I ain't gonna lie. Mm-mm.
Y'all keep bringing it up. You ain't gonna lie, what?
I'm
Maybe
still
you should
amazed
say
that
it.
you made half the show about what in Sam Hill he was wearing, about that red hoodie.
Well, not what he was
No,
wearing, but the fact that he was
the
there.
the
Behind
fact that he
you.
was there, yeah.
He
It
was
was just
wondering what he
like
was doing.
I was like, what is that dude like just constantly couldn't focus? It's like your whole thing is like dark, it's not too dark, but a little dark, blue and black, you know. And then you just got this bright red spots just moving around constantly. It was just like, can he put on a black shirt or something? Or anyway, y'all brought this up. I didn't. Y'all never like nothing I talk about. Fuck what Jason talking about. He cut off his light.
Jermaine, you okay?
I'm okay.
He done walked out the door.
Okay, I think we've summed up the episode.
All y'all going ahead.
Yeah, we only have 2 episodes left. I don't know. They did not leak the episode title for the next week,
So it's gonna be big. It's gonna be big.
Yep. It might be a 2-part finale. Could be.
Oh,
Probably
good.
won't be in a cave. So we should talk about the science of caves, or the Star Trek of caves. I mean, we know we can't. They always have trouble beaming through too much rock, right? It seems to always be a problem. Jermaine, earlier you guys weren't here, was wondering why they could talk to them, but they couldn't beam them out at the beginning.
No, it was more about the communication that they had with them. They were basically telling them to get out of there, and I guess maybe just the way that I was thinking, it was just, oh, you're telling them to beam back up. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I felt the same way with the flashback to Boimler with the conspiracy theorists, that you're telling them to get out of there. You guys control how they got in there, and you control how they can get out. So,
Right.
but I mean, they could probably say because they walked so far in the cave, they were no longer in an area where they could beam them out, and so they needed to get them back to the transport site. But yeah, that definitely hit me as well.
I'm looking at your face, William. What is your face really saying?
I ain't nothing. I ain't nothing. Promise.
Yeah, I
Okay.
bro.
Okay. All right. I think we've run out of things to talk about. Thank you all so very much for watching us. Until next time, make certain that all your days are filled with Star Trek. Y'all have a good one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm not gonna ever say it on the internet. Yeah, never. Yeah.
Oh my god. I'm sorry. Wait. There was a shadow of a church.
Okay. What?
William has questionable
I didn't
ideas
catch
about
that
what he
one.
puts.
I didn't
William
catch
has
that one.
questionable ideas about what he puts on the internet.
Oh, I remember that episode.
Uh-huh.
I remember that episode. Yeah.
Wait, what? Wait.